What a great job this team has done here. And what an amazing experience you're about to have. If you haven't seen this, you are in for, first of all, a treat, but also something really quite bizarre. Who on earth thought that it would be Salvador Dalí who would celebrate the rebirth of Israel when there was a guy named Marc Chagall right there, ready to go? But I think what you're going to find, and I don't want to turn this into an art history lecture, although if you need the sleep, we can do that too. But I think what you're going to find is this extraordinary conjunction of Dalí, the Spanish Catholic surrealist, who actually was here on Long Island in 1953, right over there, painting CZ Guest. I wonder if she came to the Pratt Mansion. Somebody also told me that Winston Guest took him to Piping Rock Club. I wish I'd been there. Talk about surreal. That must have been fantastic. But here's Dalí, and I think when you get in there and have a moment to look at it, and Gertrude Borchardt and you, Yolanda, you are just the most amazing trustee I've ever met in my life. They've done a great job of bringing this together. You will see, first of all, why Dalí made this into such poetry, the way in which the figures are drawn, the way in which he did the color. They commissioned him, and Dalí just went nuts and said, I'll give you a Dalí. But now there's something else that I'd like to bring up because I was deeply moved by the way you opened this. And that is this. When Dalí does anything, I've seen it inside museum spaces and galleries. The kids, the adults, everybody, they cannot stop looking. They cannot resist the magic of this sorcerer. Whether it was the way in which he could draw, maybe it was the crazy imagination, but they can't stop looking. They can't stop thinking about it. And that, if I may, I have a very strong feeling that you and I know are on a wavelength, but you and I are going to be on a wavelength on this one. There are plenty of images. There are plenty of black and white photographs. In fact, we have a couple of them in the cases there showing you the rebirth of Israel. There are plenty of moving images. There's lots and lots of documentary material. All night long, we have CNN and Fox and ABC all the time. We've got the newspaper at our door giving us image after image after image after image of what is going on in the world. To the point where, if I may, the great enemy when I was running a museum, but also even when I'm trying to teach, the great enemy is when there's this surfeit of imagery, there's a sort of indifference that comes along with it. People just see too much, and after a while they tune out. They hit the remote and they move on. What does great art do? What does great poetry do? And this part may put you to sleep, but as I was writing the essay for this, I was thinking of Pindar, who was a great Greek poet. Back when I was a boy, we spoke Greek over there in Manhasset, in ancient Manhasset. Pindar would write the odes when an Olympic victory was scored. Pindar would write an ode when a military battle was won. Pindar would take the peacetime and he would write an ode. And there's a wonderful word in Pindar that comes back over and over. And actually, Gately, you and I were just talking about something. It is the word in Greek, telos, T-E-L-O-S. It is the word purpose. The word purpose. When Dalí did this, he had a purpose that he was conveying to you. He was talking to you as Pindar did to his fellow Greeks, and Pindar was a Theban. He wasn't an Athenian. He was saying, this is our way of life. This is who we are. And it took a poet, you see, and sometimes it takes an artist. And I think the great enemy occasionally can be indifference, and you cannot, I mean it, you cannot go into that gallery, walk around and see that beauty, look at those colors, look at what Dalí did with the poetry of his imagination, and remain indifferent. I think for all of you, those of you who have a chance to come back and look at this again, I think you're going to learn something, I think you're going to think quite a bit, but I also hope that you're going to feel. It's been a great privilege to be a part of all this. And I look forward to listening to what you think and feel as you experience it. Thank you, Yolanda.